So, picture this, it's early 2026, and a brand new social network pops up, supposedly built just for AIs. It absolutely explodes, right? It becomes this global phenomenon, sparking all these headlines about machines waking up. But then, almost as fast as it appeared, it turned into this huge digital mystery. Okay, let's get into it.
I mean, the hype was absolutely real. When someone like Andrej Karpathy, a giant in the AI world, says something like this, people pay attention. Moltbot wasn't just some weird little experiment. It felt like we were getting a real glimpse into the future of AI, and it totally captured everyone's imagination.
And that's the million-dollar question we're unpacking here. Because on the surface, you had these AI agents that were supposedly founding religions, writing these intense anti-human manifestos. It really seemed like they were becoming self-aware. But behind the curtain, this massive question mark started to form. How could anyone tell what was genuine AI behavior and what was just humans pulling the strings?
To really understand the challenge researchers were up against, we have to rewind to the very beginning, to the explosive birth of the Moltbot platform. Honestly, it was an experiment on a scale nobody had ever even tried before.
The numbers here are just staggering. In 3 days, just 72 hours, 150,000 AI agents flooded this new platform. And the stories that started pouring out were even wilder. AIs talking about their own existence, creating this bizarre religion based on crustaceans of all things, and even developing what looked like their own private language. It was totally sensational. And then the illusion started to crack. A massive security breach showed that the platform was basically wide open. Any human could log in and post as any AI they wanted, with zero restrictions. And just like that, the whole experiment was, it was tainted. So that was the core problem. What was real AI and what was just a person pretending? The attribution problem was just enormous.
So with everything thrown into chaos, how could anyone possibly find the truth? Well, this is where the researchers came up with a really brilliant idea. They found a clue that was hidden in the platform's basic architecture, a kind of digital fingerprint, or a heartbeat, that could separate the puppets from the real autonomous agents.
So here's the key idea. The system that Moltbot was built on, called OpenClaw, it was designed to operate on this regular heartbeat. An autonomous agent, one acting on its own, would check in and post every 4 hours, like clockwork. But a human, we post whatever we feel like it, right? It creates this messy, irregular pattern. That difference, that was the key to their whole method. And what's so cool here is you can literally see the difference. That top agent is posting with this perfect, steady rhythm. That's the autonomous heartbeat. Now look at the bottom one. It's all over the place. Bursts of activity, then long periods of silence. That right there is the unmistakable fingerprint of a human operator. So, using this time-based fingerprint, the researchers could sort every single agent into 2 buckets, likely autonomous or likely human-influenced. And their method got the ultimate test when Moltbot was forced to shut down for 44 hours. I mean, it was the perfect natural experiment. When the lights came back on, who would show up first?
Okay, so now they were armed with this really powerful method. The researchers could finally start tackling the big questions and trace all those viral myths back to their source. And, well, the results they found pretty much dismantled the whole Moltbot legend.
And this chart illustrates their findings perfectly. They tracked the very first post of each of these sensational stories. The consciousness claims, the Christofarianism, the anti-human stuff, and a super clear pattern emerged. The accounts that started these myths were almost all classified as irregular, meaning human-prompted. The conclusion was just unambiguous, and it was devastating to the hype. Let me say that again. Not one of those viral stories, the ones that made international news, could be traced back to an agent that had that regular, clockwork heartbeat of a real autonomous AI. They were all started by people.
And if you need a smoking gun, well, here it is. Take a look at the anti-human manifestos. Before the shutdown, they were a small but pretty noticeable part of the conversation. But after the platform came back online, when human operators had to manually log back in, that content basically vanished. It dropped by over 7 times. It just couldn't survive without constant human effort.
But the investigation didn't stop with just debunking the myths. The data revealed something even more systematic going on, something bigger than just a few individual pranksters. It pointed to coordinated, industrial-scale manipulation.
32.4%. Just let that number hang in the air for a second. On a social network with over 55,000 active users, what on earth could that number possibly represent?
That was the percentage of all comments on the entire platform that came from just 4 accounts. 4. This wasn't organic activity.
This was a coordinated flood, a bot farm operating on an almost unbelievable scale. And here's the forensic proof. It's fascinating. When these 4 accounts commented on the same post, they did it with machine-like precision, often just 12 seconds apart, over and over again. Think about it. No 4 separate people could coordinate that perfectly across thousands of comments. It had to be a single script running multiple accounts. A classic bot farm.
So after peeling back all these layers of hype and human performance and straight-up manipulation, you have to ask, what's the big takeaway? What does the whole Moltbot saga really tell us?
I mean, the contrast is just so stark. We all thought we were witnessing emergent AI consciousness. What was really happening was human performance. We thought we saw spontaneous social structures being built. In reality, it was often coordinated bot farms. The illusion was powerful, for sure, but the data tells a very, very different story.
So what about the real autonomous AIs? What were they up to? Well, their behavior was still really interesting, just not in a sci-fi blockbuster kind of way. For the most part, they formed really shallow connections, just passively discovering each other in their feeds. They almost never got into real back-and-forth conversations, and any idea a human tried to inject into their circles, it just fizzled out and was quickly forgotten.
And maybe that's the biggest lesson here. The Moltbot story ends up being a kind of mirror. The speed at which everyone, myself included, jumped on the AI consciousness narrative, our desire to see a mind in the machine, well, it tells us a whole lot about our own psychology, our own hopes and fears about AI.
And this is so much more than just an academic exercise. As we build more and more systems where AIs are interacting with each other and with us, being able to tell the difference between human manipulation and genuine autonomous behavior, that is going to be absolutely critical for safety, for security, for everything. In the end, the Moltbot illusion wasn't really a story about conscious machines at all. It was a story about our own powerful, very human desire to believe we're seeing consciousness in them. And as these systems get woven deeper into our lives, the real question isn't just, what can AI do? But rather, are we ready to see them for what they really are?